The sun had barely risen above the dusty hills of Montana when the rancher, Cole Maddox, rode into the small border town of Fair Creek. His boots hit the ground like thunder, echoing through the quiet morning streets. He wasn't there for cattle or whiskey this time. He was there because of a promise and a debt. Behind the saloon, in the shadow of the old oak tree, she stood waiting. Elena Hart. The woman who had once belonged to another man but carried the same storm in her eyes as the day Cole had first seen her. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of what she was about to ask. "You've paid for me," she said, her voice breaking the silence. "Just do it." Cole froze. Her words weren't about money, not really. They were about freedom. About ending the deal her father had made years ago. Selling her future to a cruel ranch owner who saw her as property. Cole had ridden across 3 states to buy that contract back, to end her captivity. But standing there, seeing her eyes full of sorrow and fire, he realized what she meant. She wanted him to end it. All of it, the fear, the shame. The life that wasn't hers. For a long moment, the wind was the only sound between them. Then Cole stepped forward, his hand brushing her arm, his voice low and steady. "Elena, I didn't pay for you," he said. His tone sharp but tender. "I paid to free you." She looked at him, really looked at him, and in that glance, something broke open inside her. Years of pain, anger, and guilt melted into something like hope. "Free me," she whispered. "And then what, Cole? What's left of a woman who's been bought and sold?" He looked away toward the sunrise. Toward the ranch that had taken everything from him, too. "Then we rebuild," he said quietly. "Piece by piece. You, me. Whatever's left." The sound of horses echoed from down the trail, men coming fast. Dust kicking high. The old ranch foreman and his hired guns had found them. Cole's jaw tightened. He turned to Elena, eyes blazing with resolve. "Stay behind me," he said. "No more running." In that moment, she saw it, the same fire she'd once feared in him, now turned into something fierce and pure. Cole drew his revolver, steady and calm, as the riders thundered into view. The leader sneered, spitting into the dirt. "She's mine, Maddox. You think a handful of cash changes that?" Cole raised his head slowly. "It changes everything." The first shot cracked like lightning, the echo shattering the stillness of the dawn. Dust rose. Horses screamed. Men fell. And through it all, Elena stood frozen, watching the men who had come to save her fight like he had nothing left to lose. When it was over, Cole dropped his gun and turned to her, breath ragged but eyes soft. "It's done," he said. "You're free." Tears streaked her face. The first real tears she'd cried in years. She took a shaky step toward him. "And you?" she asked quietly. "What are you now?" He smiled, a sad, weathered smile that spoke of long roads and broken dreams. A man who finally did the right thing. The wind carried their silence into the wide open sky, 2 souls standing in the wreckage of the past, with nothing but the horizon ahead. The camera would slowly pan out, the golden light painting their silhouettes as the soft music swells. And just before the screen fades to black, a voice, calm, deep, and resonant, speaks. "Sometimes freedom comes with a price. Sometimes love is the act of letting go." The sun set behind the rolling hills, turning the Montana sky into a river of molten gold. The storm that had raged between them and their enemies was finally over. But the echoes of gunfire still hung in the air like ghosts refusing to leave. Cole Maddox stood by the fence line of his half-burnt ranch, his hand resting on the wooden rail, eyes fixed on the horizon where smoke curled upward. The final remains of the old life he had destroyed. Behind him, Elena stepped out of the shadows of the barn. Her dress torn, her hair loose, but her spirit burning brighter than ever. For the first time, she wasn't running from anyone. She walked toward him slowly, her boots crunching over the gravel, her voice barely a whisper. "You did it," she said. "You really did." Cole didn't turn. His jaw tightened, the weight of everything still pressing on his shoulders. "No," he said. "We did it." He looked down at his hands, calloused, blood-stained. Trembling, the hands of a man who'd fought for something more than land or pride. He'd fought for her. Elena stopped beside him, gazing at the same horizon. The firelight flickered across their faces. And for a moment, it felt like the world had stopped turning. "What happens now?" she asked. Cole took a deep breath, his voice steady, his eyes filled with quiet resolve. "Now we rebuild," he said. "Not just the ranch, but the people we were supposed to be before all this." She smiled faintly, her eyes glistening. "You talk like hope's still alive out here." Cole chuckled softly. "It's the only thing worth fighting for." He started walking toward the barn, where the horses waited, and she followed close behind. Inside, the faint smell of hay and smoke mixed with the scent of rain that was finally beginning to fall. It was cleansing, washing away the blood, the pain, the past. Cole saddled his old mare, Ruby, and looked back at Elena. "You could leave. You know," he said quietly. "You're free to go anywhere now. No one owns you. Not me. Not anyone." She looked at him for a long time. Her heart caught between fear and faith. "And what if I don't want to leave?" she whispered. He froze, meeting her eyes that no longer carried fear but fire. "Then stay," he said. "But stay because you want to. Not because you owe me." A tear rolled down her cheek. And for the first time, it wasn't from sorrow. She stepped closer, her hand resting against his chest. "I'm not staying because I owe you, Cole," she said softly. "I'm staying because you're the first man who ever saw me as more than a debt." Outside, thunder rolled across the valley. And the rain began to pour, heavy, relentless. Like the sky itself was setting them free. Cole took her hand, led her out into the open. And they stood beneath the storm, letting it soak them clean. The fire behind them hissed and died, and in its place, new life seemed to rise from the ashes. The next morning, the ranch looked different, not just ruined, but reborn. The old fences were gone, the land open and wide, ready for a new start. Cole hammered the first nail into a new gate while Elena carried fresh water from the well. They worked side by side in silence. The kind of silence that doesn't need words, because every glance, every small smile, said enough. When the sun climbed high overhead, Cole stopped to rest, wiping the sweat from his brow. He looked at the land stretching before them and then at Elena. "This place," he said. "It's not about cattle anymore. It's about second chances." She smiled. "Then it's ours." He nodded. "Ours." As the camera pans back, the image of the two of them standing on the open prairie fades into golden light, too. Figures small against the endless sky, but powerful in their quiet victory. The narrator's voice breaks through the sound of the wind. "In the wild lands of the West, redemption doesn't come easy. But sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones that set your soul free. Love isn't about possession, it's about purpose. And sometimes, purpose begins where pain ends."